Hi, welcome all. In this session today, we'll discuss about the cloud data profiling APIs, which are responsible for profile run management. In the previous session, we have discussed basic profile APIs using which we were able to list all the profiles, find the particular profile ID, and explore the definition of the profile. In this session, we'll discuss about the profile APIs which are responsible for running the profile, checking the status of the profile run, and deleting the profile runs. If you have not watched the previous session, the link will be provided in the description. Please refer the same. Okay. First, we'll understand the APIs, then we'll move on for the demo. First, we need to log into the IICS. The endpoint URL to log into IICS will remain same. This is a post call which needs a body with your credential details, and in the response we'll get IICS session ID. Okay, this IICS session ID should be used in your subsequent REST API calls. More details about logging API is available in the previous video. I would request you to refer that if you are not done already. The first API we'll discuss today is about running the profile. Okay, this is the endpoint URL. This will be a post call, and again, as mentioned earlier, we need to use IDS session ID that we have got from previous login API. Okay, this will need a profile ID, the profile ID of the profile which needs to be executed from the REST API. So this will be just triggering the profile run and share you the profile run ID. This will not give you a response about whether the profile has been completed or failed. Okay, this API will just trigger the profile and then it will share the profile run ID. Once we get the profile run ID, to check whether that profile ran successfully fine or whether it's failed, we can use get run detail by ID. This API will use get method. It takes ID in the part of API endpoint. This will result the details about the profile run ID, whether the profile has been completed, if completed what is the number of rows processed, and some other information along with that. When we use get run detail by ID, we'll be passing very specific profile run ID of the profile. Okay, to get the status of the very particular profile run. In case if I want to list all the profile runs of a particular profile, the profile might have run n number of times. If I want to check the status of each and every run, I can use list all run detail. Here you will just provide the profile ID, and all the runs that has been happened with that particular profile along with this details will be listed if we use list all run detail API. Okay, so we found out how to run the profile. We found out how to check the status of the particular profile run ID. We found out how to list all the runs that has been done by a particular profile. In case if we want to delete any particular profile run ID, it might be a failed one or it might be a succeeded one, you can delete that profile run. Okay, you can use the delete runs of profile API, where you will pass the profile ID as well as the run IDs. You can pass multiple run IDs, but the profile ID will be single, and the profile run details about that particular run will be deleted from the Informatica. Okay, please note the method here we will be using is delete. Okay, the parameters we need is profile ID and the run details ID. The response will share the status of the profile run, whether it's deleted or not. Now let's move on to demo. Here the first API we'll be using is a login API, which is a post method, and in the body we'll provide the credentials. The response of this will be a details about your org details, and you will get a session ID. This session has to be used in your subsequent calls. as discussed in the previous video, I'm using a post script here which will take this IISA session ID and it will be keeping it in a collection variable here. Okay, and this collection variable I'm using it in my subsequent profile run, so I do not have to edit the IDA session ID every time in my subsequent APIs. Okay, so the first API is to run the profile. I'm passing the profile ID here, okay, followed by execute. This is a post call. Once we hit this API, we'll get a response something like this. Okay, here we have two things. One is profile run ID and the profile job ID. Okay, and this is the profile run ID that we will be using in our next API, that is to get the detail file has ran fine or not. Here we will be passing the profile run ID. Okay, it will say whether the profile ran or not. Okay, so if you see the status, currently this is in initialized status. Okay, after some time this will be completed or failed. Okay, so this is very specific to a particular profile run ID, but in case if I want to list all the profile runs that has been happened for this particular profile ID, I can use list all run detail API. Okay, here we'll be passing the profile ID, so all the runs that has been happened for this particular profile will be listed as a JSON. Okay, we can see the status here, couple of them have been completed, and we'll get all the columns that has been there as part of the profile run, and it will also show you the number of rows processed. Okay, and this will list the multiple profile ID, profile run. Now in case if I want to delete any particular profile run ID, I can use profile run ID details. I can pass it to a delete profile API. I need to pass both the profile ID as well as the run detail ID as part of parameters. This will be appended at the end of your API. Okay, so once we hit this API, so it will give you the details about the profile ID as well as the run ID. Okay, and it will show you the details whether it's been deleted or not. That's all for today. If you have any feedback, please reach out to us via email or InfaSupport Twitter handle. Thank you.